Hey everyone, today we're diving into a really cool idea. What if an exam prep book wasn't just a book? What if it was a conversation? It's a pretty unique approach that might just change how we think about learning, so let's get right into it.
So this is the big question, right? I mean, if you've ever spent hours just staring at a page of dense text, feeling totally on your own, this question hits home. How do you turn that one-way street of information into a real dialogue?
But before we can appreciate the solution, we really have to get the problem. And for millions of students, that problem is the lonely and kind of daunting journey of studying for a huge exam all by yourself. And it's a struggle so many of us know personally. The pressure starts to build, all the complex ideas start blurring together, and there's nobody there to ask a quick question. It's this silent, internal fight against confusion and that nagging self-doubt.
Now, what's so smart about this whole approach is that it actually calls out these specific pain points. We're talking about trying to wrap your head around super complex theories, not having a mentor to point you in the right direction, and dealing with those real deep doubts that can just kill your motivation. It even gets the whole emotional roller coaster of prepping for a big test.
So what's the fix? Well, the idea we're looking at today is pretty wild. What if you could build an entire classroom? I'm talking a teacher, fellow students, the whole thing, right inside the pages of a book.
And here's how they pull it off. The whole book is designed to be a learning journey, but instead of just one single booming voice telling you facts, it's led by 3 completely different fictional characters or personas.
So here's the key. The main goal isn't just to throw information at you. It's to create the feeling of a supportive, stimulating classroom. It takes the lonely act of reading and turns it into this dynamic group chat, which makes everything feel so much more personal and, honestly, way more engaging.
Okay, so how does this classroom in a book actually come to life? Well, it's time to meet the characters at the heart of this whole thing. And these aren't just random characters. They're basically designed to be archetypes of the way we all learn.
And this setup is just brilliant. First, you've got Professor Rao. He's the wise, kind mentor we all wish we had. Then there's Meera, who's like the curious part of all of us, always asking the big why questions. And finally, you've got Arjun, who is basically every student under pressure asking, okay, that's great, but how do I use this to actually pass the test? Together, they really cover all the bases.
Okay, so we've met the crew, but how does listening in on their conversation actually help you understand the material better? Let's break down the mechanics of how this whole thing works.
You know, every single chapter follows this really simple but incredibly powerful rhythm. It all starts with a doubt, a real question that Meera or Arjun might ask. Then Professor Rao steps in to clarify, and he often uses metaphors to make things stick. The questions get answered not just with dry facts, but with real warmth and empathy, and through that simple back and forth, your understanding just naturally gets deeper.
I mean, when you put this method side by side with how we usually study, the difference is just night and day. You go from passively reading to actively engaging. You stop focusing on just memorizing facts and start aiming for real conceptual clarity. And best of all, that lonely struggle is replaced by a guided, friendly conversation.
All right, so we get the conversational part, which is awesome. But what about a crucial part of any exam guide, the practice questions? Well, no surprise, the approach here is different too. It's all about making practice a real part of the learning journey, not just some quiz at the end.
And here's the philosophy behind it. These questions aren't just there to trick you or test what you know. They're actually built to make you think deeper about the concepts, to make you reflect on the conversation you just had with the characters. It's like every question is another chance to learn something new.
The structure itself is super straightforward but really effective. It goes through the whole syllabus, and after each one of those conversational chapters, you get these purpose-driven questions with full explanations. They basically act like a bridge, locking in all the key ideas from the dialogue you just took part in. I think this quote it says it all, really. This isn't just about cramming to pass a test. It's a really human-centered way to learn, inviting you to go on this journey from feeling uncertain to reaching a place of real understanding, all by using conversation as your guide. And that's exactly why this idea is so cool for so many different people. Sure, it's for the student cramming for an exam, but it's also for a teacher looking for new ways to explain things, or really for anyone who just wants to rediscover a subject in a way that's actually fun and engaging. And that kind of leaves us with this one big final thought. We live in an age where we're drowning in information, right? So maybe the key to really, truly learning isn't just about finding more facts. Maybe it's about having better conversations about them. What do you think?